14th, 4:03 p.m. We're a little late. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have minutes circulating for January 24th. Oh,
I think you got them, but buddy,
oh, I got them. I gave them to you, and then we'll go down that way.
I read them, but I didn't sign them yet.
Warrants. Oh, give me this so I don't forget what I'm talking about. We had a discussion with a resident at 11 Butterfly Lane regarding high water usage and bill, and that appointment was postponed or canceled indefinitely, or?
She just called and said something came up, she can't make it.
Okay. Whoop.
That was it.
So, there. Discussion and vote for FY 24-25 operating budget and review of articles on annual warrant.
So I gave you guys the maintenance and operating budget. Made those few changes that we have been talking about, so I think this could be the final one, if you guys agree. Got the final numbers in for health insurance. We actually were a lot lower than expected, 3.78%.
Really?
Instead, she said to carry the 9, just to be
Yeah.
safe. And so she's actually coming in 2 weeks to review everything, but
Oh, good.
so I didn't care. So I don't have the dental, but dental's not our huge expense, so. So I kept that at the 135, plugged in the salary number according to, the
Those.
numbers you guys
Yep.
all have agreed on. Maintenance, we kinda carried the same. We added an equipment replacement service instead of putting that specifically into the maintenance line item. We kinda created a new one for equipment services
Yes,
or
equipment
replacement.
replacement service, that, we used to have that in the budget in the past,
Yep.
and then when the budget got close, we would run it tight, we
Yep.
squashed that out. So now that the money's, there's a little bit of money there, put it in while we can take care of a lot of our little
I
things.
believe that definitely should be in there, it's part of it. And obviously too, our salaries number will, now that we don't have Matt, will just.
I'm still
just keep it
carrying the
same,
numbers
right,
for
but
now.
Maybe have a little
It
fluctuation.
could, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we could have a little, yeah,
That's
but I wanted to
quite a
carry.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me for a minute.
He sounds like me.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So I don't know, everything else kind of was what we've already reviewed, what
Yeah.
we've talked about. Legal, we went up to the 30. Our life insurance Aflac, that doesn't really fluctuate, cause that's once you're locked in your policies,
Yep.
that doesn't change. Retirement went up a little bit, and then the health insurance, so.
Hey, on the, one here,
Mhm,
I'm just curious, the Unitil,
mhm.
that number, is that for everything?
Yeah, that's
This
all
building,
of, it may not include everything, cause sometimes 1 or 2 bills might come in
I
after,
understand,
but yes, that is multiple.
in general, that is for all the wells
Yeah.
and this building.
Just the one Lancaster Outlaws, that bill, I think, was almost 9,000, it was over
Really?
8,500,
Yeah,
that was just
that
for
was
Lancaster
very,
Out.
yeah,
And then usually Keating's is,
5.
4 to 5.
Is that
Sometimes
all
6 or
included
7.
with that?
No, it's above that.
So it's $22,000 or something?
Units of, yeah,
Well, yeah, we probably paid 20,000 for all the utilities.
A month?
A month, just for electricity, yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's gonna go up once we get treatment plants and.
Way up.
yeah.
So that was kind of one of the things, I know we've talked about in the past, I wanted to do as one of the articles, I wanted to put solar on here. Originally, we were thinking of doing it on the roof, but I think
Yeah.
it'd be better if we did it along that bank.
Yeah, I do
you
too.
know? So.
Good idea.
I mean, that's something that we can always, where we don't really have numbers for and all that, that's always something that we can,
Or, didn't we talk about doing it down at the Lancaster well site?
Yes, but that's, yeah, we're looking at, that's where the treatment plant would go,
Oh, okay.
so.
That-
and incorporating that with it, right? Treatment
Yes,
plants or
the
doing something with it.
preliminary ideas is that we're gonna put solar on top of the
Sure.
treatment
Yeah.
plant.
But, I mean, even if we were ahead and we had some numbers for solar to do now, we could do it on the annual, but if we don't have that ready, we could wait and add that to a special, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could, I don't wanna tie anything to the special for that.
No, 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 no,
But
yes,
maybe if we
Yes,
have one in
down
the
the road.
fall, or we
Yeah.
just wait till next March.
yeah.
That's a lot of money for electric.
It's not gonna go down.
Not with you and tell us not.
Well, I mean,
Or any of them.
I've been keeping track of the electric for 20 years.
Yeah.
And, I would say 3 years ago is when we saw the pretty dramatic increases. Before that was like 80 for all of us, about 80,000 a year. So,
But, yeah,
yeah, so now
Yeah,
it's
I
only
mean, I
a
think
few months.
if I had my,
now it's 250.
Yeah.
right, no,
Well, 20,000 a month for 10 months is 200.
Yeah, well, that was, this month was, that was 11,000, so,
12,000.
so yeah, probably 16,000 a month. Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's not gonna change anything we can do, but I was just curious.
yeah, last year, 22, July of 22 through June of 23, under utilities, for everywhere, with 188,000.
That's what we spent.
That's, but that utilities could be oil, propane,
Okay,
electric,
yeah.
you
I
know,
understand
under
that, yeah,
utilities, about, just, you know, almost 200,000 for that. So first, before we go to the articles, if you guys, I just need this, if it's good to go, then that way we can start, I can start putting my annual books together once we get our warrant set for the operating budget.
I mean, I feel like we've discussed.
Yeah,
this
we've
more
discussed
than enough.
everything, I plugged in numbers that you guys
Yeah,
want,
I
this
don't-
is just the final,
I don't have
Final
anything,
draft.
I don't have
You guys
anything
good
to
with
add to this.
No, me neither. It's what it is, I'm afraid.
yeah, and we looked at our numbers, we're right at what we're expecting for
Mhm.
our, revenue.
Okay.
Yeah,
We don't have any more, water tank loan, that was paid off.
That was paid off.
Wow.
I mean, really the things that we changed on this is we upped the legal,
Yep,
just going after we talked about last time.
yep,
We added back on the equipment replacement budget line item, which I think is a good thing to have.
yep,
And,
and the others aren't really in our
yeah, there's
control, the
nothing,
health insurance,
right,
the
the health
retirement,
insurance, I
it is
mean,
what it is.
we just kinda like, you know, tweak those to the going rate, you
Yep.
could say,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, and the health insurance is based on the family plan, so they
Correct.
have a new guy that comes in, it's a single. then it'll
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna,
be less.
yep,
Yeah, I've got nothing to add to this. We don't need to make a motion on that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We do.
yeah.
Well, I would like to make a motion then. I'd like to make a motion to approve the maintenance and operation budget for the 2024 to 25.
A second that.
Okay, all those in, any discussion, you already had that, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next I gave you just the articles, nothing really, it's the normal, the first four, all the normal ones.
Mhm.
Moderator to accept the reports, so now that you guys have accepted the operating budget, that number's in Article 3. Article 4 is just, I think the lawyer explained it last year, just the
Yep.
general one. We talked about taking out the Article 5, cause that'll just come out of our operating budget, the leak detection that I
No.
had.
No, that was 6. 6 is the leak detection.
50,000 is the one we.
Oh, I think I gave,
Yeah.
maybe I-
Yeah, that's, we've been putting 50,000 into the
Oh, I
water.
printed, I have
Yeah.
a different one that I'm looking at
Yeah.
then. Sorry, I'm
We
looking
did
at,
that- yeah, we did
I'm
that
looking at a
last year.
different, my old one. I
Five
didn't
is
print my new
pretty-
one.
5 is standard, we've been doing that.
Yes, I'm sorry, 5 is standard,
It's
6
6
was
we
the,
should
yes.
take out for the water, the leak detection. I don't think
Yep.
we need to-
So I got a quote on this, 5,900 to do the whole town for leak detection. So that was the thing, we put it in here and then we did that line item for the services, replacement equipment and services. So we
Right.
could tie that into the services, so,
So we don't need to-
really it could come out of the maintenance budget, just a regular budget, but, we can take it out of that.
So, I mean, in the past, you've done it yourself, is there an advantage or disadvantage of doing this either way, just we don't have the manpower to do it right?
Yeah, it's mostly manpower, these guys come out and do the whole system in like 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
and they're really good at it.
Yeah.
You know, they find a lot of stuff. You know, then, you know, a lot of people do this every year.
Yeah.
We do it like every 5 years.
Okay.
So in between, we use our own equipment to
Okay.
do leak
Alright.
detection, so. But I think, you know, when we get the new guy, we start, you know, getting our stuff organized and set up, then we can go back at doing it ourselves.
Sure.
You know, you can, so like if you put the leak detectors out, it looks for leaks in between the two of them.
Okay.
You know, it's a little log you drop in on the valves, and it listens, and then you could say, well, how far did you hear it away, and how far did you, so it's gonna tell you exactly, I heard it 300 feet away, I heard it 500 feet away, so it's gonna
Okay.
tell you exactly where it is. And when it tells you, it might be off like 6 inches, so when you're digging a 10-foot hole, who cares about 6 inches?
Yeah.
So that they are pretty impressive. So if the leak is outside, it hears a leak, but it's not in between those two, it's gonna give you a red line saying, I hear the leak, it's outside range, it tells you it's.
Oh.
So you can, you
yeah.
can get really good at it. And
How long an area can you do it once?
we have, 8 loggers we can stick out, so we stick in, like, we'll go pick an area, we can stick them at fire hydrant, gate valves, you can stick them on curb boxes for houses and stuff.
How many, let's say you had a fire hydrant and a gate valve, how far in between?
Well, a lot of it depends on the pipe, so Lunenburg is, mostly, AC pipe or duct line. Duct line can go further because it's metal, it transmits the sound better, but even the AC pipe transmits a good signal. I would say you could probably go maximum 1,000 feet between them, so I mean, you could do
Yeah, that's
you
a
could-
pretty good,
yeah, you can do like a whole good chunk of, whole
Sure.
big area, you know, so.
yeah.
And a lot of these were, it was a grant we received probably 10 years ago. And, it was, we did a toilet replacement program, tied to that was the leak detector equipment. So we tested them all and, it's coming pretty handy. I mean, we have a main break, we had one on Laurel Lane, water's all gushing out the end of the street, so you start digging when the water's gushing out. And, Margaret was here at that time, and she called, says the guy up the street said he's got water in his basement. He's never had water in his basement before, and he was uphill. I'm like, there's no way he has water in his house from this leak here. So we started, we did the leak detector, and showed it right in his front yard. Not a
Yeah.
speck of water in his front yard. So we shot it again, and it was, said right there, exactly. And
Wow.
right there was exactly right there. The stuff is impressive. Goes by the sound, they call it correlation. It's a sound correlation, so pretty impressive stuff.
Worth the money, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so I'll take off 6.
Yep.
And then 7 was the, vehicle, sorry, I had the old one then. 7 was the vehicle, which we're gonna start getting, looking around, prices,
Yeah, they're around 45,
yeah.
What do you get?
I don't know.
We're just looking at different SUVs,
Something.
and that seems
Oh,
to
for
be.
you,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got over almost 200,000 miles on the Explorer.
Should want to get over
it's
20
literally
miles.
just gonna go. So anyways, I guess the big thing is anything else that we need to consider, or are we good for those potential 6 articles?
Were we gonna get the, recommendations back from KP on the bylaw and making that conform to general law? Did we wanna try to do that at this meeting?
I did not really get into
Okay.
fully
I don't know what you're-
presenting a whole other article, is that something
No,
that?
no, no, I don't wanna present a whole nother article. I just wanna make sure that the article that we have, I understand the intent of the article, is that it at least matches with Mass General Law, so we don't have conflicting bylaws and laws.
Well, as of right now, the way it's written, it has to be in our bylaws.
Right.
Exactly how it was voted.
Exactly.
And yes,
If
it does conflict with
With
Mass
Mass
General
General
Law,
Law.
but I can't change that unless we have another vote
I'm just,
to amend our bylaws again.
and if,
So,
you know, I just wanna clean it up. I don't wanna
no, I
have
agree.
confusion between a bylaw and Mass General Law.
Well,
I
is there-
agree.
Is there any way to prevent this happening in the future?
No,
to prevent
I thought
what
about
happening
it.
in the
Yeah,
future.
like there's no, cause.
no, you
because-
can make a, they can make a bylaw that we need to paint the water district building pink,
Right.
you know, and if Mass General Law says you cannot use pink as a color for municipal buildings, it'll
It
never
doesn't matter
happen.
what it says, you
Right.
have to
But there's always that argument that somebody says, well, it's in your bylaws. Yeah, but Mass General Law says, no, yeah, but it's in your bylaws.
So I had a very concerned citizen call and contact me. He feels that we should not present this to KP at all. He says the people who submitted the bylaw change should bring it to their legal people, have them correct the issues, and return it corrected. And that was his opinion, I kinda agree with it. So why should we be paying
Okay,
for
so we're
someone
just-
else's mistake?
We're gonna leave a bylaw that, I'm fine with it. We're just gonna leave it alone.
That's the tough part, is exactly like you said, 5 years, 10 years down, 20 years down the road, when nobody remembers this meeting,
Well, still,
and somebody comes in and says, I want this to happen, and we try to argue, then now legal fees start to present itself, you know, so.
Well, even the one where it references to similar to what the town of Lunenburg does.
Yeah, so what
So
happens if that
so
changes?
Yes, is ours automatically floating with whatever the town does?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
I don't
sense.
know. I guess we just leave well enough alone.
As long as
mean,
we,
it's-
as long as we have people like that in town, that's just the way it's gonna be. They're not gonna change.
I'd say let's think about it more.
Okay.
Maybe they'll respond and say, yeah, let's clean it up and.
You know
redo
what
it.
wouldn't hurt is if maybe we reached out and if they wanted to come in and talk through the mass, we already have our stuff from KP that states what doesn't follow Mass General Law, similar.
I think so, I mean, I think so, I don't know if we
It
need to
was
go
just,
deeper.
it wasn't like huge things with it, it was just
Yeah.
simple things where they had a certain amount of days and that
Right.
they can't have that, Master General Law says different amount of days.
Yeah.
so.
That's what I'm saying, maybe they'd be willing to amend their own bylaw.
And I don't have a problem, anybody wants to come and sit down and talk about stuff.
Yeah,
No,
maybe we can,
I'm with you. I would like to clean it up a little bit.
I'd like to have it clean, that, they match.
Right.
So, I guess, would it be worth me reaching out to the group that presented this?
To see if
To
they would
see
be
if-
willing to come in
And
and
we
just
amend
have
it.
a little workshop
Yeah.
where we can present the conflicting information that we have about Mass General Law to their bylaw, to see if they'd be willing to come in and resubmit it, cause
Yeah.
I agree, if we try to change it,
Right.
So-
I like
gonna
it.
be, yeah.
Okay.
Let's try to reach out to them and be like, listen, this is the conflict we see with this. Are you willing to come in and let's just sit down together? We'd like to just clean, not rewrite it or
No,
anything.
just
but
clean up a
just
few
clean up,
things,
and
do
the
it.
same premises will be there. And we
Right.
wanna make sure that you're okay with that. We're not trying to change
No,
anything.
it's better if they present it,
Right.
because they presented the original bylaw.
Correct.
If
So
we
is-
try to present a change, then it's gonna,
I agree.
So is the goal to get this on the,
no, I mean, it might not,
okay,
it
cause
might,
this
it
is where
may
we were
not.
we were talking
Oh, it
this,
may
so I
not.
wasn't sure if this is what we were
I
talking
don't think it
to.
needs to be on.
I don't think it's crucial, but I think it is something that I'd like to clean up.
Okay,
Or at least make
alright,
the
so
attempt.
that's a
I
side
think
thing,
we should at
we'll
least-
get it cleaned up.
I'd like to put it, if they say, no, we're not doing, okay, fine,
Okay.
that's the end of it, but I would
Okay.
like to try to just, I
Yep.
like my boxes square, there's a little corner missing in this one.
Okay,
Nope, that sounds fair.
everything else on the articles, we're good?
I'm good with that.
I'll present, I have to give them to KP.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're not
no,
like,
yeah.
because they
No, no,
they
I-
just have to be
That one I
legally, yes.
understand. I just saw,
Legally read.
I just read the
Although-
warrant.
Although I did try to take a lot of, we purchased the truck, the new work truck, so I'm gonna take kind of what, the wording that they already had, according to Mass
Oh,
General
well,
Law, this and this, I can use some of
yeah.
it, but they do still have to
Yeah.
review it, so I will have them review it, and I will have, you guys, I think, have to vote and sign at our next meeting, so
Yeah.
we can get it posted for beginning of March. Okay?
Okay. Let's see. Discuss new line item charge to residents to pay for the water main replacement project on Massachusetts Avenue.
So we talked about this at the last meeting. I would like to put an insert in their April bills, giving them the heads up.
Mhm.
So I guess,
It's a fixed fee on an annual basis? That's what I didn't
I'm,
think.
so what Fran and I have been talking about, what we went through is, unfortunately, we don't have, the full bond won't be done until the project is done.
Correct.
We have temporary borrowing set up right now for the
Correct.
$2.3 million. So what we were thinking is, let's carry what we have right now
The 2.3.
the 2.3.
Yes.
And we're hypothetically gonna say we're going for a 20-year loan is what the bond most likely will be.
Mhm.
So we took the numbers at 2.3 divided by 20 years, 2,500 residents, 4 times a year,
Mhm.
bill quarterly. How much would that be? Instead of raising the rates, let's do this new line item that
Mhm.
says Mass Ave water main replacement bond,
Mhm.
2024 to 2044 to 2044.
Correct.
And residents will be able to see exactly, so what we came up with was around $18 a quarter,
Mhm.
$6 a month.
Yep.
And in this letter, I was trying to put together, to get to NDS, our billing system, to
Yep.
go to April, was gonna kinda just give a explanation that just said, this is what's coming up in
Yep.
July. Unfortunately, we don't have an exact number. At this time, we're thinking $18 a month. Because the thing is we need to start taking this soon, because by the time this project is done, our first payment is gonna be due that, most likely that following year. So if we start billing our residents by July,
Mhm.
by July of 25, I'm assuming around that time, our first loan payment for the Mass Ave project is gonna be coming, and by then we'll have that, whatever that number came out to be,
Yeah,
$100,000.
I think as long as it's, you know, the intent of the article is to pay specifically for the water main replacement. If, when they pay that line item, it goes into an account.
Right.
I talked to
That-
Northern Data about it, our billing,
That,
and they
that
said
account
absolutely.
is what we utilize to pay the
pay them,
note.
yep.
And who knows, maybe we get lucky and the last payment is less than 18.
Well, so I guess that's my
Well-
question, so like, if we stick to the 2.3, I'm thinking that we're collecting 2.3, and that's final. If the project comes in at 2.2, what do we do with the extra?
No, we can change that,
Yeah, then
$18
it
at
would
any
change.
point.
Then we can't, okay.
Yes, so that's what we talked about too, is right now, we're gonna base it on our construction loan, which is
Correct,
$2.3
right.
million.
Okay.
When the project's done, and we have our final number, and we go out to the bond, and by then we'll have our interest rates, we'll
Sure.
know the full dollar amount.
At that point, we
At
can
that
change it.
point,
can make an
we'll put
adjustment.
a little announcement out to everybody and say, this is
We have
now
the
your
final numbers on this.
this is now your
okay.
true number, instead of $18, it's $19, it's $17,
Got it.
whatever it is.
Okay.
But at least this gets us going for July
Okay.
to get this going.
So somehow word to them that this is, you know, this is the number that we're working with right now. We
Yep.
will have finalized numbers, you know.
Once the
Once
project
project's
is complete.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
Yes.
And the intent of this account is to pay solely for this. And
yep,
Yeah.
And then once we're done, if the bill's paid for and it's,
That drops off.
should be at zero.
yep, that drops off. So this way everybody will see, this is what I'm paying for turning my faucet on and drinking my water is this, and I'm paying $18 for that new water main replacement, you know?
Making sure that everybody knows that is an estimated,
Well, that's what I'm hoping
Estimated
to put out
number.
in that letter,
yeah.
in that insert. And then, actually, we can talk with Capital Strategic about, getting on Facebook and talking
Mm.
within the next month or two. We were talking about, reaching out to the Board of Selectmen, doing our updates.
Right.
This can be part of it. We can start to reach out to our residents to let them know that,
Can't be more clear than that. It comes out of a bill, it goes into an account, that account solely pays for that
Yes.
project.
Yeah, I think it's important in that little letter that you send them that like, this portion of money will go directly
yeah,
to this
This is what this is.
credit card
for.
payment. you know,
Yeah,
It's going
yep,
straight here.
it's going straight
you
there,
know,
yep. No, and I talked to our software,
Yeah.
Northern Data,
Yeah.
and they said they do that with multiple
Yeah.
other cities. We're gonna set up a whole new line item code,
Mhm.
so that once people pay their bills, it's gonna say, well, this went to here, and this went to here,
Yeah.
so we're gonna know exactly
Yeah.
which funds go to which.
As long as we can do it that way, where we can
Yep.
estimate the 2.3 now, and then once the product is final, it could be like this cost down to the penny.
Yep.
This,
Yep,
and we can adjust.
I went this probably 4 or 5 years ago, went to a rate, class on rates, and this was one of their methods of doing the billing. And a lot of towns do this.
Yeah,
They've gotten
I think it's a great idea.
You know, they use this when they actually put the project up for a vote. They'll say, okay, we wanna fix this water main, it's gonna be $6, a bill a quarter, whatever it is, so they vote, and they know the exact number.
yeah,
The only option we have, we either do the temporary number based on what we have for the bond, or we cover, the only cost to us for the bond is the interest payments, right? So either that, we cover the interest payments until it's finalized,
and then
But then
implement
we're
it.
gonna be tight on the.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was just kind of my thinking, was it starting, the project starting in the spring, if we start to get the word out to all residents so that they're not hopefully shocked when they get their July bill, in July it'll start, cause I'm hoping by midsummer that project should be done.
As, I just, think, as long as we can call that audible like halfway through or, a year in, be like, the project's complete and this is the final number, and
Yep.
we'll readjust, that's,
I'm hoping we can get it, typically we shoot for under budget.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say most cases we're.
right.
Yep.
Needless to say, when it breaks down to that quarterly payment, we're swinging it by 50 cents or something. like that,
Exactly,
you know, I mean,
right
so-
now, we're projected at $6 a month
Yeah,
for this, $2 million project that impacts everybody, with the
Yeah.
schools and
Yep.
everything on that stretch, so.
let's, let's
Okay.
get that,
I'll keep moving forward
keep
on it.
moving forward on, and once you get like a final project,
Yep.
product, we'll approve it.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Let's see. Can I get a motion on the minutes of January 24th?
I was gonna do that, I didn't wanna charge. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 24th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner, Superintendent, Clerk, Treasurer's additions.
The only thing I got, we're looking for a new employee, so I'm just gonna put it out to public. If, I'd love to have a Lunenburg kid, young kid, knows nothing, come in, we'll train him, and if anybody has concerns, this is a lifelong job. You get in here, you work hard, self-motivated, get your life meters, you can, I did, came in as a meter reader and moved to the top, so I mean, it's open for whatever you wanna make of it, so.
And Fran's not gonna be here forever. There is, he's been hogging that position for a while, so.
Now, this is a great place to work, I don't know why, it's so hard to keep somebody, but
That's everywhere.
I suppose. Well, all you gotta do is work hard, do your job, keep your nose clean, you got it for life, you're set for life.
Alright, anything under the old business, we talked about the Mass Ave water main replacement, pilot study on Hickory Hills.
Pilot study, it was modified, told you last meeting, added the green sand, the green sand is added, it's working great.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little while for it to start doing its thing, but it's working better than they anticipated. It's also, so once it goes through the green sand for the iron removal, then it's going through the biological for the manganese and also the green sand for the manganese too.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's working good. I mean, the initial idea was to use the biological, but the fracking doesn't work for that, so.
Okay.
And then the game plan is still the same. We're gonna take that system and move it to Lancaster in July. So we're shooting to have this done July first. Move it to Lancaster. do a
Lancaster
short-
Wells,
Yes.
Lancaster Street.
Yes, Lancaster Ave Wells.
Yeah.
Lancaster Ave Wells, yes.
We're not gonna put it in the middle of the road?
No, we're not gonna put it in Lancaster.
Oh.
And, that'll be a short-term test, a few weeks,
When do they think they'll be done over here,
July first.
July 1st?
And then Keating's,
Keating's, the plan was just submitted to DEP, haven't heard any response back. That one, I think I mentioned plenty of times, that one's doing the hardness first, and then the PFAS removal.
anything new on SRF, ARPA, litigation funding for projects, anything on those?
The ARPA, we've had a couple, meetings with the Capital Strategic
Yeah.
for the, public education for the PFAS. They're working, they're starting to get things going right now, they're getting, documents, sent to selectmen for them to, just to make a statement as they.
Start getting information out there.
Yeah, I think she wanted to start doing monthly,
And then they're working on the webpage, so we're gonna have a whole specific webpage for the PFAS.
a flyer, a direct mailing to
Yeah,
everybody.
they're really good. I mean,
Mm.
they're so on top of stuff that, I wouldn't be opposed to us future. having
Yeah,
that
oh,
as
I wouldn't
just a
either.
little-
It's like, it's almost exciting to watch them, the stuff they do.
This, yeah. Yep.
They're good, they're good.
Yep.
And then she teaches us a lot of stuff too, like, hey, your webpage needs to change, it's not,
ADA compliant.
Yeah, so you-
Certain things on it, she said if somebody went to your water quality report, it's a tablet and it needs to be this format, so that if anybody who is hearing, you know, something visually impaired, they can yeah, so she's like, oh, you click on here and do this, and we're like, okay, thank you.
yeah, so
She's been
she's
great.
helpful too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess you know
And I
this
did
stuff.
see the litigation, we got an email from that Baron and Bud, that, I mean, they haven't got dates or anything, the company did,
Yeah.
handling it, that the judge did rule in favor of, them having to pay. I forget if it was DuPont or 3M, which they were going to first. So, again, no idea when the money's coming in, but supposedly there will be, so that would be.
Glad to see it just moving along.
Yep. Yep.
Anything else from any other members of the board, or?
The water main project, I think I mentioned I met with MDR on site, to look at the first, did I not say that?
No.
From Northfield Road to Townsend Harbor Road, I met with them, cause they were questioning, is there a section that I felt they could do without timber and water? And I think the first section is. So I met them down there, we looked at it, and, they agreed that they think they could do that section without running temporary, which would be very helpful. So I was looking at the plans and stuff, I was figuring how we could tie in Northfield Road without shutting down, all of Mass Ave. And I think we can come up with a plan, but they're open for, you know, doing whatever they can to, limit the temporary service, which costs us money. So if we cut out 1,000 feet of temporary service, we
Yeah.
just save.
Because there's, I mean, on that one side of the street, there's nothing, it's like
Right.
Sealy's, right?
Yeah.
First.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Barney's
And-
house at the corner.
And we have the measurements for the state taking, and we can lay the water main on the state taking off the edge of the road.
Right.
The old main's right on the edge of the road. If we lay the new one 5 feet off the road, even better.
Yeah.
You know? And we discussed, typically they dig the streets to do the house services.
Right.
And I said typically we pull, and they're open to doing pulling, so no road repair for the cross trenches or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then flip it even further, if we don't run the temporary, if for them to run the temporary on the other side of the road, they need to dig up everybody's driveway and bury that line.
Mhm.
So if we can eliminate that,
Yeah.
then, that'll, so.
Good.
Oh, that's going from Northfield Road?
Yes.
Towards Townsend Harbor. Unfortunately, there's no loop down there, that's all dead end.
Mhm. Someday we're gonna run it down Arbor Street.
Someday.
Someday.
Just gotta get the people down there to pay.
Yeah.
I already got one, I mean, I'm good, it's
Run
not
it
like.
your house.
I'm good, I'll petition all the neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least this way we're in good shape when spring hits.
Yeah,
Yep.
so the permit's still moving
Yeah.
ahead, we don't have the permit yet, it's moving ahead, it's on the paving section now. Where they're coming back with comments on, you need to pave this and mill this, and, which is kinda tough because the bid has already been put out there and it's already in place, I mean, they already bid their money, so to change the contract now to say, well, you need to pay this, and it's not even
Yeah.
on the bid, it makes it tough.
Yeah.
So is that an immediate change order or something?
I just can't understand their thinking, that their tops are getting hard to deal with.
Right, you have anything else?
That's it, for me.
That's it for me.
Motion to adjourn. We're done.